Welcome to War Bios, the podcast where we delve into the intricacies of military history's most pivotal battles. I'm your host, General Biography, and today we're going to explore one of the most fascinating conflicts of the Italian wars, the Battle of Bicocca. This battle, fought on April 27, 1522, was a clash of titans, pitting the French army against the combined forces of Spain and the Holy Roman Empire in a struggle that would shape the fate of Europe. To understand the significance of the Battle of Bicocca, we must first examine the complex web of alliances and rivalries that led to this pivotal conflict. In the early 16th century, Italy was a battleground for European powers, with city-states like Milan, Florence, and Venice vying for dominance. The French, under the ambitious King Francis I, sought to expand their influence in the region, while the Spanish, led by the cunning Charles V, aimed to protect their territories and maintain the balance of power. In 1550, Francis I launched a bold invasion of Italy, seeking to conquer the strategic city of Milan. The French army, bolstered by its superior artillery and cavalry, quickly overran the city, forcing the Duke of Milan, Maximilian Sforza, to flee. However, the French occupation was short-lived, as the Spanish and imperial forces, led by the experienced General Prospero Colonna, rallied to retake the city. The stage was set for a series of bloody battles and sieges as the French and their enemies clashed in a struggle that would span decades. The Battle of Bicocca was one of the most significant conflicts of this period, marking a turning point in the Italian wars and showcasing the tactical genius of the commanders involved. As we explore the origins of the Battle of Bicocca, it's essential to consider the key figures who shaped the course of events. Francis I, the first king, was a charismatic leader with a talent for strategy and a passion for glory. Charles V, the Spanish monarch, was a cunning diplomat and a skilled military commander, determined to protect his territories and expand his empire. Prospero Colonna, the Italian general, was a veteran of countless battles, with a deep understanding of the Italian landscape and the tactics required to succeed in this unforgiving terrain. In the months leading up to the Battle of Bicocca, both sides engaged in a series of clever maneuvers and calculated risks. The French attempted to outflank the Spanish and imperial forces by launching a series of raids against their supply lines, while the enemy responded with bold cavalry charges, seeking to disrupt the French army's cohesion. These skirmishes set the tone for the battle to come, as both sides probed each other's weaknesses and searched for opportunities to gain the upper hand. The city of Milan, with its imposing walls and strategic location, was the focal point of the conflict. The French garrison, led by the capable Audet de Foix, Vicomte de Lautrec, worked tirelessly to fortify the city's defenses, while the Spanish and imperial forces gathered outside, preparing for a siege. The stage was set for a dramatic confrontation, with the fate of Milan, and indeed, the entire Italian peninsula, hanging in the balance. As we've laid the groundwork for understanding the precursors to the Battle of Bicocca, it's time to shift our focus to the primary events that would unfold on that fateful day in April 1522. The battle itself was a masterpiece of tactical innovation, marked by daring maneuvers and catastrophic blunders. The Battle of Bicocca was a masterpiece of tactical innovation, marked by daring maneuvers and catastrophic blunders. The French army, led by Audet de Foix, Vicomte de Lautrec, was bolstered by its superior artillery and cavalry, but the Spanish and imperial forces, under the command of Prospero Colonna, had a deep understanding of the Italian landscape and the tactics required to succeed in this unforgiving terrain. As the battle commenced, the French army launched a series of bold attacks against the enemy's fortified positions. However, the Spanish and imperial forces held their ground, using their knowledge of the terrain to funnel the French into kill zones and exploit their weaknesses. The French cavalry, renowned for its bravery and skill, was repeatedly repelled by the enemy's disciplined infantry, who stood firm behind their shields and pike formations. One of the most significant factors that contributed to the French defeat was their failure to adapt to the changing circumstances on the battlefield. Despite being outmaneuvered and outgunned, the French continued to launch frontal assaults against the enemy's strongpoints, suffering heavy casualties in the process. In contrast, the Spanish and imperial forces demonstrated a remarkable ability to adjust their tactics mid-battle, using their cavalry to outflank the French and attack them from unexpected angles. The Battle of Bicocca was also notable for the introduction of new military technologies, including the use of arquebuses and other firearms. The Spanish and imperial forces made effective use of these weapons, deploying them in conjunction with traditional arms like pikes and swords to devastating effect. The French, on the other hand, were slower to adapt to these new technologies, and their failure to do so ultimately cost them the battle. As the day wore on, the French army became increasingly disorganized and demoralized. Despite their bravery, they were unable to break through the enemy's defenses, and their repeated attacks only served to weaken their own position. In the end, it was the Spanish and imperial forces who emerged victorious, having successfully defended their positions and inflicted heavy casualties on the French. The Battle of Bicocca marked a significant turning point in the Italian Wars, as it halted the French advance into Italy and paved the way for the eventual defeat of Francis I. The battle also showcased the tactical genius of Prospero Colonna, who had outmaneuvered and outgunned his opponents to achieve a stunning victory. The battle itself was a testament to the bravery and skill of the soldiers who fought in it, as well as the cunning and strategic thinking of their commanders. The Battle of Bicocca marked a significant turning point in the Italian Wars, as it halted the French advance into Italy and paved the way for the eventual defeat of Francis I. The battle itself was a testament to the bravery and skill of the soldiers who fought in it, as well as the cunning and strategic thinking of their commanders. In the years that followed, the Spanish and imperial forces continued to consolidate their power in Italy, while the French were forced to regroup and reassess their strategy. One of the most significant consequences of the Battle of Bicocca was the signing of the Treaty of Cateau-Cambrésis in 1559, which brought an end to the Italian Wars. The treaty marked a major shift in the balance of power in Europe, with the Spanish emerging as the dominant force on the continent. The French, on the other hand, were forced to cede control of many of their territories in Italy, including the city of Milan, which was returned to Spanish rule. The Battle of Bicocca also had a profound impact on the development of military tactics and strategy. The use of arquebuses and other firearms during the battle marked the beginning of a new era in warfare, one in which traditional arms like pikes and swords would be increasingly supplemented by gunpowder-based technologies. The Spanish and imperial forces' effective use of these new technologies at Bicocca would serve as a model for future military commanders who would seek to incorporate similar tactics into their own armies. In the centuries that followed, the Battle of Bicocca would become a legendary example of military genius, studied by historians and strategists around the world. The battle's influence can be seen in the works of famous military thinkers like Napoleon Bonaparte, who would later study the tactics employed at Bicocca and seek to apply them to his own campaigns. Today, the Battle of Bicocca remains an important part of European history, a testament to the bravery and skill of the soldiers who fought in it. The battle's legacy can be seen in the many monuments and memorials that commemorate its anniversary, as well as in the continued study of military tactics and strategy by historians and scholars around the world. The battle itself was a masterpiece of tactical innovation, marked by daring maneuvers and catastrophic blunders. Its legacy continues to shape our understanding of military history today, serving as a reminder of the importance of adaptability, cunning, and strategic thinking in the face of adversity. In the words of the great historian Edward Gibbon, the Battle of Bicocca was a decisive victory which secured the dominion of Italy to the Spanish monarchs and fixed the boundaries of their empire. As we reflect on the significance of this conflict, we are reminded of the enduring power of military history to shape our understanding of the world around us. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, I'm General Biography reminding you to keep marching toward victory.